The World of Outlaws are shaking it up for the 2026 season, and it's causing a little bit of controversy as the series will go head-to-head with the Lucas Oil Late Model Dirt Series during Speedweeks. And we got a reaction from FloRacing VP of Motorsports, Michael Rigsby, on his thoughts with the World of Outlaws scheduling the Swamp Cabbage 100 event to go head-to-head with the Lucas Oil Late Model Dirt Series. Roll this up over at stockcarreport.com. You can find the link in the description below. So back in May, the Lucas Oil Late Model Dirt Series announced a change to its Georgia-Florida Speedweeks schedule by moving the start of racing to the middle of February, beginning at All-Tech Raceway. The series announced they would have 3 races at All-Tech Raceway on Thursday, February 19th, and go through Saturday, February 21st. From there, it would head to Ocala Speedway for racing on Tuesday, February 24th, through Saturday, February 27th. Finally, Speedweeks would conclude at Golden Isle Speedway on Wednesday, March 4th, and go through Saturday, March 7th. Earlier this week, the World of Outlaws announced that it would hold the Swamp Cabbage 100 at Hendry County Motorsports Park on February 20th and 21st. That means the two series will be going head-to-head during Speedweeks rather than later in the year at the end of March. Obviously, that coincides with those, with 2 of the dates that the Lucas Oil Late Model Dirt Series is racing at All-Tech Raceway. So Rigsby reacted to the announcement, and he wrote this over on Facebook saying, "My take has always been pretty simple. Dirt late model racing is 100% better when these tours don't race on top of each other in Georgia and Florida. The argument being made in this case is that this allows the series to split sooner and properly allocate tow money. I get that, but that doesn't outweigh, to me, the star power that's present for both series and elevates both tours events. This is short-sighted to me and doesn't elevate dirt late model racing as a whole. And before anyone makes the, yeah, you like it for streaming argument, we don't stream all the races at Speedweeks. Obviously, Dirt Vision streams the World of Outlaws, or FloRacing streams Lucas Oil. And even if we did, I wouldn't like it," he said. "It splits the car count, audience, and attention spans of the sport at the one time of the year the world is focused on dirt late model racing. Is it a huge deal? Maybe more of a medium deal, and I do wish Hendry County luck. By all accounts, they're great folks. But overall, I think it's going backward, not forward." So Rigsby wasn't the only one to kind of weigh on this. Ryan Gustin's team owner, Todd Cooney, had a different perspective when he shared his thoughts to Facebook, and Rigsby kind of addressed what Cooney was expressing here, but this is what Cooney said. "It makes perfect sense because of the travel money and everything. Like the last few years, Lucas guys can come in and run Speedweeks and take the travel money when that's meant for people that's going to run the whole series. It shouldn't affect the car count very much, maybe 4 or 5 cars. All that would be at the Lucas shows anyways. This is something that should have been done a long time ago, and it's only 2 nights, and then you can go right back on the Lucas tour if they want to." So here's kind of my thoughts. I don't really understand why the World of Outlaws would be giving Lucas guys the tour money, or the tow money, maybe because they're trying to lure them in and they have that decision to go with World of Outlaws or Lucas after Speedweeks would end. And so they were giving them the tow money if they signed the platinum agreement. But to me, based on some of the research I've seen on this platinum agreement, now obviously I haven't seen it. They don't publish it. Everything I've seen is just kind of been reporting on it. But it sounds like the platinum agreement is supposed to be for people who are going to be running the series. So if you don't actually run the World of Outlaws, then that tow money should have to be refunded if it was given to people that choose to go race with Lucas Oil, right? That would be like it's me. Obviously, you could probably put in there some extenuating circumstances, something like that. You lose a sponsor or something happening with Ashton Winger or whatever, where he has to fall off the tour, even though his initial plans were to run the World of Outlaws, and just things kind of go sideways somehow during the season, and they have to make a change, and they can't continue following the tour. And I get that. That kind of makes sense to me. But if they're going and competing with Lucas Oil, then why would you be giving them the tow money in the first place? So I don't really understand this argument from that perspective. It sounds like this is easily something World of Outlaws could have done without scheduling the Swamp Cabbage 100 or putting any other race up against Lucas Oil during Speedweeks, if that is the real issue there, right? I think you could solve that in some other way without having to schedule a race up against each other. As far as, so I don't really buy the argument that kind of Todd Cooney is pointing out here. I think you can solve that problem a different way. As far as what Rigsby says here about the star power, I do think that that sucks. I mean, I know people kind of plan vacations to go down there, and they want to see all the guys racing. They want the big event that it was, and I do think that does kind of take away from the sport a little bit. I think Rigsby is right on that. Now, I don't think that Speedweeks are the only time where the focus is all on dirt late models. I think there's obviously the big crown jewels at Eldora. You think of the Dream, you think of the World 100. I actually think the Dome is probably one of the more prestigious events now. I mean, that is probably one I look forward to every single year because the racing is absolutely fantastic. There's all kinds of drama. And it's just a great, great event from everything I've seen people that have been there talking about it. And I've enjoyed it just watching it on FloRacing. I think it's absolutely fantastic. And it's grown every single year. And there's clearly a desire to want to be part of that event on the driver's side as well. And they are raving about how great the racing is there too. And it kind of evens the playing field with that racetrack where you're not just going to have the big guys all the time kind of dominating that race. You can have other guys show what they can do at the Dome and really kind of put a highlight on their career. Tyler Carpenter obviously being one of those. And that doesn't take away from Carpenter's excellent racing in that regional area there, West Virginia, Kentucky, etc., that he does. But obviously, I think the Dome has elevated him in many people's eyes. So I don't agree with Rigsby's kind of comment there that it's the only kind of time where the focus is on dirt late model racing. I think you've got the Dome, you've got the World 100, you've got the Dream. I think those are all, you've got the Prairie Dirt Classic, where those are all kind of all eyes on the sport. And I think what Flo and Dirt Vision did with that Illinois Speed Week this year was absolutely fantastic. I love that, racing every day leading up to the Prairie Dirt Classic. That was awesome. Talk about putting a spotlight on the sport. That was great. And so you can see there are things where these two series can kind of cooperate. Obviously, I know it wasn't really Lucas Oil. It was FloRacing Night in America for a lot of the speed weeks there. But when the streaming people can cooperate, you can really put a spotlight on the sport and get some absolutely fantastic racing out of it. And you get all of the big stars coming together. So I understand that perspective. Well, we'll see what happens with it. I don't like that they are kind of splitting up. I wish for the fans' sake we would be able to get them all at the same track. And you can kind of follow them, right? You can follow them to All-Tech. You can go to Volusia. You can go to Alcala. You can go to Golden Isles, etc. And then you could go maybe to Hendry County if it wasn't overlapping. That would have been a lot of fun to kind of do that, travel around with them and kind of have that vacation. Then obviously you have the events that are there. I really do like the idea that the Hendry County race is part of kind of this Swamp Cabbage festival that they have down there. There's all kinds of other things happening. There's like a bass fishing tournament and things like that are happening. So I do think that is kind of cool, and being able to like incorporate that into the schedule. So I actually do like that. I just wish it wasn't kind of overlapping with Lucas Oil. So you do get everyone there. I mean, who wouldn't want to see the stars of Lucas Oil there? Devin Moran, Jonathan Davenport, Ricky Thornton Jr., Garrett Alberson, Brandon Overton, etc., racing against the World of Outlaws guys, Nick Hoffman, Bobby Pierce, Brian Shirley, Tim McCready, etc. Like, I mean, that would be an absolutely fantastic race, and we're not going to get to see that. So that kind of does suck, right? But those are kind of my thoughts on this. I think there are obviously ways you can fix the toe issue without overlapping. I wish they weren't overlapping, but at the same time, I understand why you would kind of do that, because it is where that Cabbage Festival is. And maybe there should have been some coordination with Lucas Oil before that, if these negotiations were taking place before that. But I mean, also you got to strike when the iron's hot too. And maybe the deal came up like a couple months after Lucas Oil had already announced their schedule, and the opportunity was too good to pass up, and they wanted to get that going. And it looks like a really cool opportunity, again, with the fact that it is attached to this kind of annual Swamp Cabbage Festival that they've had there, I think, for over 100 years. So I get that too. But maybe next year they work it out. They figure out the schedule. They go back to Hendry County. They get the Swamp Cabbage Festival 100 there again, and there's no overlap, and things are good to go. And maybe there's just a little bit of growing pains here for this year. But let me know what you guys make of this. Let me know in the comments below.